Good morning, students. IPM International School and College welcomes you to your iLearn class of economics. I, Ms. P. Singer, today will be teaching you the second chapter, that is Basic Concepts of Economics, and the topic which we'll be dealing today is the consumption and its various kinds or forms. Consumption. It means destruction or lessening of goods to satisfy human wants. Let's take an example to understand the concept of consumption. Now suppose you are hungry and you have only 50 rupees in your pocket. With that 50 rupees you go and you purchase a plate of noodles for yourself. You eat that noodles and after that you are fully satisfied. Now what is the purpose of that plate of noodles over here? The objective of that plate of noodle is to satisfy your hunger. In other words, we can say the objective of that is to satisfy your human want. So once you have eaten or you have finished that plate of noodle, it means that that commodity has been destroyed or it has been lessened. And why it has been destroyed or lessened? In order to satisfy your hunger or in order to satisfy human wants. In other words, we can say that the using up of the utility of goods and services for the satisfaction of human wants is known as consumption. Let's take another example to understand the meaning. Now suppose you are thirsty. Now you go and purchase one bottle of Pepsi for yourself. Now you are using up the utility of that bottle of Pepsi in order to satisfy your want. And what is your want over here? That you are thirsty. So when you are using up or when you are utilizing the utility of that bottle of Pepsi for the satisfaction of human want, that is known as consumption. Remember, if any commodity is destroyed without satisfying human want, it is not called consumption. Now let's take another example. For example, you have a beautiful car, a beautiful and a luxurious car with yourself. But before even using that car, it has been destroyed in fire. Now, will you call it as an consumption? No, we will not call it as consumption. Why? Because you have purchased that good, you have purchased that beautiful and luxurious car, but you were not able to utilize it to its fullest capacity. Or you were not able to utilize it at all. So that is why that will not be considered as consumption. Let's take another example to understand this point. Suppose you went to a market and you purchased 10 kgs of tomatoes. Now when you were coming back to your home, you met with an accident and the entire packet, the entire 10 kgs of tomatoes are destroyed. Now will you call it as consumption? No, that will not be known as consumption because definitely yes, you purchased the commodity in order to satisfy your want, but you were not able to consume it at all because it was destroyed in the accident. So again, the purchase of 10 kgs of tomatoes over here will not be considered as consumption. Now let's start with the types of consumption. So when a commodity is consumed directly for the satisfaction is known as the final or the direct consumption. Now again, let's take an example. Now suppose you are eating an ice cream at the moment. Now you are eating it up immediately and at this point of time only you are using up its utility or you are obtaining a direct satisfaction on the consumption of that ice cream. So that is why that will be known as the final or the direct consumption. It's not going to happen that you are eating ice cream now and you will feel satisfied after 5 hours of its consumption. It is not going to happen. You are eating ice cream now and you will obtain its satisfaction at this point of time only. And that is why it is known as the final or the direct consumption. The second kind of consumption is the productive or the indirect consumption. So when a commodity is used in production of another commodity, that is known as the productive or the indirect consumption. For example, use of sugarcane by a sugar mill. Now let's elaborate this example. Now when you are eating or consuming sugar, indirectly we can say that you are consuming sugarcane, because sugarcane is the main raw material in the production of sugar. So that is why that sugarcane will be known as what? That the consumption of sugarcane in the consumption of sugar will be known as the productive or the indirect consumption. Now the next kind of consumption is the quick consumption. So when the utility of a commodity is finished or it is destroyed the moment it is consumed, it is known as the quick consumption. For instance, the utility or the satisfaction you obtain from a glass of milk is completely destroyed the moment we consume the glass of milk. So that is why it is known as quick consumption. Remember, consumption of all single-use consumer goods fall under the category of quick consumption. The fourth kind of consumption is the slow consumption. So when a commodity tends to give you a utility for a long period of time, that is known as slow consumption. The examples of slow consumption is the consumption of a watch, a sofa set, a car, a house, etc. Because these are the goods which we are consuming on the daily basis, and that too for a very long period of time. We are consuming these commodities, we are obtaining satisfaction out of these commodities on a regular basis, slowly and steadily, and that is why it falls under the category of the slow consumption. Now moving to the last kind of consumption, that is the wasteful consumption. Now when a commodity loses its utility without satisfying anyone, that is known as the wasteful consumption. For example, if newly stitched clothes catches fire and are reduced to ashes, will you call it as a consumption? No, because those clothes were not able to provide you any satisfaction, because you were not able to wear them even once, and they were already destroyed, and that is why it is known as the wasteful consumption. So I hope that in this segment you have understood the meaning of consumption and the various kinds of consumption. Thank you.